Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, as I mentioned in a recent video, I'm on a short vacation, but rather than have a Justice Matters blackout, I'm really pleased to be posting a three-part interview series that I did with comedy legend Buddy Winston. Buddy was a monologue writer for The Tonight Show with Jay Leno for years, and more recently, Buddy has been using comedy, including in daily posts on Twitter and elsewhere, to fight for decency, equality, using humor to fight for justice. So in part one of our conversation, we talk about whether Donald Trump has made political comedy harder or easier. We talk about the comedy gift of Don Jr., and we take on some serious comedy topics like irony and its place in today's America and in today's comedy when teachers are allowed to choose guns, but they're not allowed to choose books. Friends, I hope you'll enjoy part one of my conversation with Buddy Winston. Let me start by welcoming you, Buddy Winston, to the Justice Matters channel. As the folks who ordinarily tune into my daily videos know, I don't do a lot of interviews. I've done more than 1,000 videos, but I've done relatively few interviews because I don't think that's where I can add the most value. What I try to spend my time doing is explaining the legal issues of the day that just keep our heads spinning every day. People trying to figure out what in the world it means, how to absorb it, how to make sense of it, and where do we go from here. But what I love doing is finding people who have this sort of justice mission involved in what they do. So, Buddy, when I found you online, and God bless this computer thing and social media, because I started following what you were posting on your timeline. And the jokes are, yes, they're funny and they're insightful. And there is this theme of kind of justice and decency and fairness and equality running through the jokes, which is what attracted me to your work and wanted to learn more about you and about your body of work. I go through your timeline frequently. In the jokes that you're posting on your Twitter time, I wish we didn't have to use Twitter as an example. I wish we could use another platform, but the reality is that's where we're still operating for the most part.
It's the devil we know.
Yeah, and so when I went through in recent days, I see you, it's such a variety of stuff, but it all has a common thread running through it. You say, for example, and my delivery will probably suck, but you say, so now the GOP wants us to believe that it's not the NRA, but NPR that's killing us. Anyone know of any fatalities from those tiny desk concerts?
Desk concert.
And you say, this I love, maybe the GOP would be more open to abortion if we called it bellymandering, obviously instead of gerrymandering. Yeah. You say Trump wants Americans to know that the law isn't coming after him, it's coming after us. Funny, because neither I nor anyone I know got indicted this week.
Doing good, Glenn. I might have to write for you now.
I'm going to take the interviewer's privilege because a few of your other jokes that I want to touch on, and then I want to ask you about one in particular that raises, I think, an important question of how we can connect with Generation Z today on both the humor and the justice front. But these are too good because Don Jr. is a punchline, right? The man is a walking punchline. And so when you say things like, Don Jr. is hawking gold now, impressively, for some reason, he's very good at measuring grams, which I love. And then
Glenn, let me just say something about that. Yeah. That's the kind of joke that's good because you don't hit it on the head. You have to let the audience take that just a little bit further, right? From gram, what is it? Why grams? And they go, aha.
I love that when you have to take a beat to put it together. I love that.
And they think they figure it out. They love the joke so much more than when you stuff it, because a lot of people, as you'll notice on your thing, I'll write a joke like that, and then people will right under it the exact thing as if I somehow missed it. You know what I mean?
And the other Don Jr. joke that I saw recently, you said when Don Jr. heard the news that his dad was indicted, he said, "This is the last straw." Turns out his comment had nothing to do with the indictment. Again, you got to give it that beat, and then
you can only write so many cocaine Don Jr. jokes, though. You know what I mean? It's like
they write themselves when it comes to Don Jr., though, right?
Yeah, I know. But what happens is I wind up like beating myself up because to me, after you write so many Don Jr. cocaine jokes, you feel like a cheap slut. You know, you feel like, oh, here I go again. You know.
So here's the one I want to ask you about, and I love this, and I wonder how many Gen Zers, if they read this joke, would understand what you're doing here. You say, "Good news for Louis DeJoy, the corrupt postmaster general. Good news for Louis DeJoy. Now Trump's photo will be posted where he works." And instantly, when I read that, Buddy, it took me back to Point Pleasant, New Jersey, as, you know, a junior high kid walking into my local post office and seeing the FBI's 10 most wanted list with the pictures of everybody. That was a common frame of reference for us growing up. I wonder if a Gen Zer would get that, or it would just completely escape.
So, Glenn, you have to understand that a lot of times I'll think of a joke. This happened with the Tonight Show also. I get it. And I want to put it out there regardless. I don't care if it falls to deaf ears. I get the joke. You know, Seinfeld has a joke like that where he says he doesn't understand why they don't arrest them when they take their picture, you know. But, you know, I mean, you know, but it's hard to say because things change. I mean, you're right. People aren't walking into the post office anymore that often, seeing that. So, you're right. They may not get that, but there are people, especially a lot of your followers, would get it. Yeah. You know, if I make 10 people laugh, I'm happy. I don't need to make 1 million people laugh every time I write a joke. No one's paying me anyway.
So can you tell me, Buddy, what is it that has brought you to a place where, you know, you are using comedy to fight the justice fight, and you do it really effectively? What is it that brought you to that?
Irony, first of all. You know, I mean, as simple as they want to arm teachers, right? They're going to allow them to choose weapons, but not books. To me, that needs to be said because it's those ironies. You know, you can argue a point back and forth all day, but comedy has sort of a tasty delivery system that people welcome, and they're not going like this because confirmation bias doesn't allow you hear a buzzword and you're immediately like this, right? But when you put sprinkle a little irony in it, you know, people get it. And then they think about it for a second. That's right. Teachers are going to be able to have guns according to them, but not choose books. That's kind of crazy. So it's no longer just about the issue, right? It's about the craziness of the whole platform, right? I mean, this whole don't say gay, and now they're going to take it to high schools, you know, yet Trump is singing YMCA, the gayest song. I figured out why he did that, by the way. It's a royalty thing because one of the village people is a construction worker and he's used to not paying them. So it's like, yeah, okay, use them. So
is Trump almost so ridiculous that it's harder to find the humor in a guy like that?
He has the potential to ruin certain aspects of comedy. See, first of all, Trump would be funny if there was a wink attached to the things he does, pantomime, nicknames, you know, all the stuff he does. Some of it would be funny if we were in on it, but we're just looking at a lunatic, right? Like when Stephen Colbert says something, you know where he's coming from, you know, so even if he said something positive that you thought might have been GOP positive, you know it wasn't. So you stop and think. But with Trump, his words, you know, all his words are horrifying. And to know that your president, the guy that's representing you, is up there doing, I mean, it's horrifying. So it is a problem for comedians in some aspect. But you look at Sarah Cooper, you remember her? Mm-hmm. She rose to stardom for simply lip syncing his words, right? She didn't even have to write material. And it was funny because it was coming from a woman who was mimicking him, right? Not from him. So that takes away some of the fear factor and it makes Trump funny. You know, so I have to say people are tired of him. And late night, people go to late night comedy to hear all this. But when they go to a comedy club, they're on a date, they're trying to escape, have a good time. They don't want to hear about Trump. It's not, you know, people try political humor and then they go, the audience was against me. No, they're just tired of it. They want an escape. It's a vacation from Trump, you know, and that's what we all kind of seek, right?